begged my wife to help my grieving best friend. She had an affair with him, got pregnant, and secretly had an rtion because she didn't know who the father was. I honestly don't even know how to start this. I can't put into words what I'm feeling right now, or how I'm supposed to process any of it. I originally made this account just to see if anyone else had ever gone through something even close to what I'm dealing with. Turns out, sadly, it's not as rare as I'd hoped. Sorry in advance, this is going to be long. But I need to get it off my chest or I'll lose my mind. I met my wife, let's call her Sue, back in college. We were both 18, and things clicked the moment we went on our first date. Within weeks, we were already throwing around "I love you" like it was nothing. She was actually the one who made the first move, and I was more than happy she did. We opened up to each other quickly, sharing things we never told anyone else, our fears, our secrets, everything. When Sue's dad passed away during her senior year, I was by her side every step of the way. He had pancreatic cancer, and when he was hospitalized, I spent nights at the hospital with her just so she wouldn't be alone. We got through that nightmare together, and honestly, it brought us even closer. She once told me she didn't know how she could have handled it if I hadn't been there. She called me her soulmate. I knew I wanted to spend my life with her. So, 2 years after we graduated, I proposed. Life at that point felt perfect. I'd married the woman of my dreams, landed a solid job right after college, and both of our families were over the moon about us. My best friend, we'll call him Dave, had been in my life since 3rd grade. He was like a brother to me, the one I never had. He'd gotten married too and had moved out of state when his wife got an amazing job at a top law firm. But about a year ago, everything changed. His wife died in a car accident, and it shattered him. He moved back to our hometown, but he just wasn't the same anymore. I tried to be there for him, but he shut everyone out. No one could really get through to him. That's when I asked Sue to step in. Since she knew what it was like to lose someone, I thought maybe she could talk to him in a way I couldn't. I thought he might connect better with someone who had lived through that kind of loss. Yeah. I see now that was a huge mistake. We started visiting Dave regularly. At first, we'd go together, but eventually, Sue began spending hours at his place even when I wasn't there. They started going on hikes, watching movies, grabbing lunch, stuff couples usually do. I hadn't planned for their friendship to get that close, and it made me uncomfortable. But the thing is, Dave seemed to be doing better. He was slowly coming back to life, and I didn't want to interfere with that. It's worth noting that Sue and Dave never really liked each other before this. Sue always thought he was a jerk. Back when Dave was single, he bounced from woman to woman, and even after getting married, he cheated on his wife constantly. Sue hated that about him and often questioned how I could stay friends with someone with no morals. That long-standing tension between them is probably why I didn't even suspect what was coming. But things escalated quickly. Sue started inviting Dave to events that were meant just for us. She began pulling away emotionally and physically. Always on her phone. Acting distant. Hardly any intimacy. Coming home late. All the classic signs of something being off. One day, she was texting nonstop, and I asked who she was talking to. She said it was one of her girlfriends. When I asked to see the messages, she snapped and called me controlling. I was getting gaslit so hard it made me question everything. I tried talking to Dave about it, hoping he'd reassure me. Instead, he acted offended and accused me of not trusting either of them. It made me feel like the crazy one. Then one day, Sue told me she was heading to her sister's for the week because she needed space from me and my constant suspicions. But something didn't sit right with me. So later that evening, I called her sister to check in. She confirmed Sue was supposed to be visiting, but also told me Sue hadn't shown up yet. This was 10 p.m., and Sue had supposedly left around 3 p.m. Her sister lives about 4 hours away. Something in my gut told me to drive to Dave's place. And sure enough, her car was parked just a few feet from his house. My heart sank. I didn't want to believe it, but it was right there in front of me. I sat there crying in my car for a while before I decided to go in. I used the back door because I knew it'd be unlocked. I walked in as quietly as I could, and then I heard it, my wife moaning. My body started shaking. I crept up to his bedroom door, and through the crack, I saw her bent over his nightstand. That image is burned into my brain forever. I pushed the door open wide, and they both just froze when they saw me. I wanted to beat Dave senseless, but I didn't. I just turned around and walked out. As I got in my car, I heard Sue shouting at me to stop, saying she could explain. I didn't even look at her. I didn't trust myself to. I drove off and cried the entire way home. Since then, they've been calling me nonstop. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. I ended up crashing at a college friend's place for the past week. I told work what happened, and they were kind enough to give me some time off. Both our families have been trying to reach me, but I've only responded to my own folks just to let them know I'm safe. I haven't talked to anyone else. The pain is unreal. It's crushing me. And yeah, I've had some dark thoughts, but I don't think I'd ever act on them. Still, I feel like I'm breaking apart. How does someone you love with everything you have do this to you? I don't know how to move forward. Please, if anyone's reading this, tell me what to do. Update 1 of first, I want to say thank you. Your support, your stories, your advice, it's all helped more than I can say. Some of you shared your own experiences, and it made me realize this isn't the end. I can get through this. I've had some scary thoughts, but I think I'm past that point now. So thank you, really. A few of you were asking for an update. Here it is. I'm still trying to make sense of things. There were other emails and messages from Sue that left me completely confused, but one in particular really shook me. I won't share them all here, but reading that one, it made me realize I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. Like many of you recommended, I contacted a lawyer. I met with her yesterday and laid everything out. She seems determined to help me get through this without losing everything financially. It's comforting to have someone in my corner. As for Sue, I still love her. That part hasn't faded. But I don't know if this is something I can ever forgive. I've also gotten a ton of messages from Dave, but I haven't opened any of them. I just can't. I've been swinging back and forth between grief and anger, and honestly, I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel anymore. Part of me wonders if I should give reconciliation a shot, just to see if there's anything left to salvage. The other part wants to end this marriage right now and save myself from more pain. My family knows everything now. Apparently, Sue came clean and told them what happened. I've been keeping my distance, haven't seen or spoken to most people in over 2 weeks. But even with all that space, the pain feels just as sharp as it did the day I found out. Every time I close my eyes, all I can picture is Sue and Dave together. That image, it just won't go away. It's like a constant loop in my head. I know a lot of people are telling me to just file for divorce, and believe me, I get it. I've even told others to do the same in situations like this. But when it's your own marriage on the line, it's not that simple. Things aren't so black and white when you're the one living through it. So I'm putting this out there again, especially for folks who've gone through something similar, whether you were the one betrayed or the one who messed up. How did you deal with it? Is moving forward even possible after something like this? Right now, I'm leaning heavily toward divorce. Almost certain, honestly. But I guess what I'm really looking for is reassurance that walking away is the right call. I've read all your comments, and I appreciate every one of them. I just wanted to add something that might give a fuller picture. Sue, her family, and some of our mutual friends have told me she's been living with her sister since everything went down. In one of her emails, she claimed she's only talked to Dave once since I found out, and that she's cut off all contact with him. Her mom even texted me an apology on Sue's behalf. I didn't answer her calls, but she mentioned that Sue is now in individual therapy. Another email from Sue said she never planned to leave me for Dave. According to her, she does have feelings for him, but she doesn't love him. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Apparently, Dave is planning to move away soon, but is delaying it because he wants to talk to me face to face. I don't know why. There's a lot I still haven't addressed, and I'm probably forgetting some things, but I've been hearing from friends and family that maybe I should at least sit down and talk to Sue before making my final decision. That's where things stand for now. Update 2. I took some time away from Reddit and social media to really think about my marriage and what direction I wanted to take. I got a lot of advice, some from people online, some from friends and family, but the truth is, I wasn't sure what I wanted. Since then, a lot has happened, so this update might be a bit long. Hope you'll bear with me. When I look back on our marriage, most of it seemed like a highlight reel of good times. That's why I was trying so hard to find a reason to stay. But the moment I shifted my focus to the betrayal, how she and Dave gaslit me, made me feel crazy for asking questions. I felt nothing but rage. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I'll never forget the look Sue gave me when I questioned her late-night outings, the anger in her voice, like I was the problem. Or how Dave looked disgusted when I asked him, man to man, if something was going on between him and my wife. The betrayal was awful enough. But the gaslighting broke me in a way I didn't expect. I was made to feel like I was losing my mind, when all along I was right. There's one moment that sticks with me, just a couple days before I caught them. She came home late, all smiles, told me how much she loved me, how turned on she was on the drive home. Now I'm almost sure she came straight from Dave's place. She wasn't wearing any underwear that night. She had sex with him, then with me. And I kissed her. I feel sick even writing that. It made me feel weak, like I'd been completely walked over. I felt like less of a man. The more I thought about it, the more I wanted to show up at Dave's and give him a piece of my mind. But I didn't. Because there's no justice in this for me. Not in our legal system. They get to mess with my head, break me down, and if I react, I'm the one who ends up in jail. Not them. I spoke with my lawyer about all of this. She warned me not to do anything reckless. She said it wouldn't just land me in legal trouble, it could also hurt me in the divorce. She recommended therapy, but I didn't want it. I didn't think I needed it. Sue kept sending me emails, and each one made me angrier than the last. She kept saying how miserable her life would be without me. She even quoted Bible verses about forgiveness. I mean, really? If I meant that much to her, then why do it in the first place? I finally decided to go back to work. Staying busy has helped me cope. I don't drink nearly as much as I did in the beginning either, which I guess is progress. Then one day, a letter showed up at my job from Sue. I almost tossed it without opening it. But something made me read it. She wrote about her therapy sessions, saying they'd helped her uncover some deeper issues she never dealt with. Her biggest struggle, according to her, was low self-esteem. She said there was a noticeable gap in our levels of attractiveness and it made her feel insecure. Apparently, her sister has always been the pretty one, and that comparison stuck with her. Even though I always made her feel wanted, told her she was beautiful, she admitted she still felt the need for attention from someone else. She apologized again and said she wasn't trying to justify anything. She was just trying to explain what she was working on in therapy so it wouldn't happen again if I decided to give her another chance. She ended the letter asking if I'd consider marriage counseling. I didn't respond. To her. Or to her family. I just stayed silent. I finally moved forward with filing for divorce. First step was to separate our finances. Unfortunately, it wasn't so simple. We had separate checking accounts, but there was also a joint savings account, mostly funded by me, since I earn quite a bit more. But because it's a shared account, I couldn't access my fair share without her consent. Odds are I'll end up having to split it with her 50-50, which feels like another slap in the face. Still, I went ahead and filed the papers. A few weeks later, she was served. And that's when the circus started. The very day she got served, she showed up at my apartment, divorce petition in hand. No idea how she found out where I was staying. We just stood there staring at each other for what felt like an eternity. All those emotions from that night hit me like a tidal wave. I nearly cried, but I held it together. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. Then she rushed at me and tried to hug me. I stepped back and gently pushed her away. That's when she lost it, started yelling, asking why I was giving up on us, why I wouldn't at least sit down and talk to her. Honestly, I just wanted to get away. Seeing her brought back a mess of emotions I wasn't ready to deal with. I headed for my car, but she threw herself onto the hood and wouldn't let me leave. Said she just wanted to talk. That we couldn't end our marriage like this, without at least having one final conversation. I gave in, mostly because she clearly wasn't going to leave quietly and was already causing a scene outside. We went up to my apartment, and I just sat down while she started talking. Once again, she said she'd do anything to fix what was broken between us. She insisted she didn't love Dave, that she was sorry, and that she wanted to save our marriage. She told me she'd done some research about ways we could move forward. Her main idea was a trial separation, one where I could see other people if I wanted, but she begged me not to file for divorce yet. She said she wanted the chance to rebuild our friendship first, and then maybe, someday, our marriage. She threw out all kinds of ideas, some of them honestly bizarre. She even suggested a one-sided open marriage where only I would be allowed to date. She tried showing me stories about couples who had survived infidelity. She even brought up the idea of us moving to another state, or another country altogether. Just the two of us. That last one really hit me in the gut. We'd actually talked about relocating and starting a family not long before everything fell apart. After she finished talking, we just sat there in silence, looking at each other. And then I asked her why. Why him? Why betray me with him, of all people? And why only come clean when she got caught? She broke down sobbing again. Said she'd felt guilty even during the act itself but didn't know how to stop. Claimed she was already too deep in the affair to think clearly. Counseling had apparently made her realize that, eventually, she probably would have cheated on me anyway, even if not with Dave, then with someone else. She said there were things wrong inside her that she hadn't faced. I asked her directly if she loved Dave. She swore up and down that she didn't, that she hadn't spoken to him since I left, and didn't even know where he was anymore. She told me I was the only one she loved and she'd do whatever it took to make things right. I asked if this had ever happened before, if she'd cheated on me prior to all this, and she swore on her late father's life that this was the first and only time. Then I asked who else knew. She hesitated and finally said her sister had found out just a few days before I did. Apparently, her sister had begged her to come clean and end the affair. So, to those who guessed the sister was in on it, yeah, you were right. Then I asked her another hard question: why was she even fighting for us now? Why not just leave and be with Dave? Was this really about love, or was it just guilt making her go through the motions? She said it was because she truly loved me, and because she knew how badly she'd messed up. We talked for a long time, most of it was her crying, but I didn't cry. I had shed all the tears I had the day I found out. I didn't have any left. Finally, I asked if there was anything else she needed to tell me, any other secret she was still hiding. That's when she really lost it. She started sobbing hard again and begged me not to get angry. My stomach dropped. I urged her to just say it because her hesitation was freaking me out. Then she told me. She said she'd found out she was pregnant shortly after I left, and she had an abortion. She said she didn't know who the father was and panicked. If it had turned out to be Dave's, she felt like there'd be no chance for us. So she made a decision without telling anyone. I was stunned. Completely frozen. She kept pleading with me not to let that be the final straw. But I was numb. I told her to leave. She begged to stay, said we weren't done talking, but I was just done. Then I asked how far along she was when she found out she was pregnant. She said only a few weeks. That's when something clicked. I reminded her that she'd told me in an email they'd only started sleeping together about a week before I caught them. Was that a lie? She nodded. She admitted she lied to spare me the worst of it, hoping that if she downplayed the details, maybe I wouldn't hurt as much. She finally confessed the affair had been physical for almost a month. She tried to touch me, to comfort me, but I pushed her away. I told her to leave and not come back. She tried to speak, but I told her to get out. She asked if we could talk again once I'd had time to process things, and I said no. I told her I had already accepted a job in another state and would be moving as soon as the mandatory 2-month waiting period for the divorce was over. I had already turned in my notice at work. That's when she really broke down again, more crying, more begging. I finally told her if she didn't leave, I'd call the police. She left, reluctantly. After she was gone, I just laid down on the floor of my apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell everything had gone so wrong so fast. It was hard to believe how quickly my marriage had crumbled. I had been leaning toward divorce before that conversation, but now, I was certain. I ignored every attempt she made to contact me after that. Then, a few days later, on a Thursday, I got a call from my mom. Sue was in the hospital. Apparently, she'd overdosed on something. It felt like I was living in some twisted nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I went to see her. She was alive, but they'd checked her into a psych ward. She was asleep when I visited. Just seeing her there, it broke something inside me. I still love her. That part hasn't gone away. And at that moment, I was just relieved she was okay. Honestly, I haven't thought much about the divorce since then. Everything's just been a blur. I don't even know what to do anymore. There are probably a lot of important things I'm forgetting, but if I keep adding more, this will turn into a novel. I could really use some advice. Please feel free to share your thoughts. Edit, I haven't been able to reply to everyone, but your support means more than you know. Update 3. I really thought my last update would be the end of all this. But here I am, again. It's been around 8 months since everything went to hell, and somehow, things just keep getting worse. I won't go into every detail, but I'll try to explain enough to get some honest feedback. You all have been a huge help. When I last posted, Sue was in a rough place mentally. Thankfully, therapy helped, and she seemed to be doing better. I felt awful for her, but I knew I couldn't stay. Some people can get through something like this. I'm not one of them. If I had stayed, I would have just kept hurting myself and her. I knew I'd never truly move past the betrayal. I'd never stop resenting her. Eventually, we both agreed on getting divorced. She asked if we could stay in touch, even if just a little. The divorce went smoothly, and about a month ago, it was finalized. I moved to the West Coast for a fresh start. Things were finally looking up, until I got another call. Sue's sister told me she'd had a stroke. She's now almost completely paralyzed on her left side and can barely speak. I can't even describe how it felt to hear that, let alone how I felt seeing her in person. She looked nothing like the Sue I remembered. Every time she saw me, she'd cry. One of the hardest parts of all this is the guilt. People keep telling me it's not my fault. Her family insists I didn't cause it. But I still feel like I did. And even if they don't say it directly, I can sense a shift. There's a tension now, something unspoken. Her aunt once cursed me out in front of everyone. No one defended me. They just asked me to let it go, to move on. I wish I could. But the truth is, it still hurts. All of it. I haven't seen Sue since that hospital visit. Her family won't let me. They say I stress her out, and legally, I have no right to ask for details anymore. It feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare that just keeps evolving. I try to move on, but something always pulls me back in. I just can't seem to catch a break. Not sure where to go from here.